Hi, welcome back to this little discussion about sitting next to emptiness, which is kind of meant to give you a taste about DCI level 7. I'm going to show you another picture here. This is a very, very sad picture. It was taken this morning. And what I wanted to say about DCI level 7, in this case, what we've said is that you can take a problem, like a business problem, where you bought some yellow diamonds by accident, and then you can turn it into your most profitable and successful product that you do. But what I'd like to talk about today and talk about with you is that, you know, buying a few extra, 1,000 extra yellow diamonds at work, it's an expensive mistake. It's a problem. I wouldn't call it a lifetime disaster. I wouldn't say it's one of the most serious problems in a human life. It's not. Okay, let's just admit it. It's not like a life-threatening problem or something. But what I'd like to talk about today is what I like to call hard problem. And I divide all problems, in my mind, I divide problems into two kinds. And one is I call soft problems. That's like, I don't know, you're having trouble with your wife or your husband right now, and you know, you need to do some adjustments and things are going to probably work out okay. But then there are what I call hard problems. And hard problems, I kind of define it as things we don't even like to talk about and things we don't even like to think about. So these are problems that are so big and so serious that almost nobody wants to even think about them. We'd rather think about our small problems. You know, I'm not sure I have the right dinner at home tonight, or, you know, looks like they might have canceled my favorite show on Netflix or something. Those are soft problems. Hard problems, I would say, are problems that are so serious and so difficult to solve and so big that we don't even want to think about them. And we all try not to think about them. My example in this picture was taken this morning. And these are 3 rockets taking off from one country, being sent to another country, where those 3 rockets will kill 20 people this morning. Okay, those 3 rockets, that kind of beautiful picture you see, is the beginning of the death of 20 innocent people. And, you know, it's a big problem, you know, like we almost don't want to think about it. Oh, Geshe-la, I don't want to take DCI level 7 to solve this rocket problem. That's too big. You know, I was just kind of hoping that my business would pick up 10-20%. But I want to encourage you to think about hard problems, okay? If you can learn to solve a hard problem with DCI level 7, with the Diamond World, then those little problems, what to do with 1,000 extra diamonds at work, you can solve those problems, okay? So we're going to concentrate on hard problems. In the next picture here, I found this kind of a cute picture. I don't know. I saw it and I said, yeah, that's what I want. I was looking for a 5-point star because I like to use a 5-point star when I'm teaching something with 5 points to it. And then I thought, excuse me, I thought it'd be nice to have 5 different stars. And this picture is like, okay, go through these 5-part strategy. So this picture represents a 5-part strategy based on the Diamond World, okay, based on DCI level 7. This is not in level 7. This is kind of a special little idea for you guys trying to decide whether to take level 7. And again, it's because I want to give you something that you can use in your life, whether you whether you ever take level 7 or not. Okay, so this is do these 5 steps, do these 5 parts of a strategy, and then push the button, and there'll be a smiley face, amazing result, okay, with these 5-part strategy. Let's go through the 5 parts of our strategy. And I'm going to show you a picture here of a lady. I think it's a lady. Yeah, there we go. A lady in front of her computer. When I was preparing to give these talks, the vice president of DCI, Seiji Arao, he said, you know, Geshe-la, people like to hear solutions. You know, they have problems in their life. There's problems going on, and if they feel that you have a new kind of solution for them, then they're really interested, you know. So I'm going to name 5 problems, and I call them hard problems, okay? These are very serious problems. Number 1, in the world right now, I think since the pandemic, which itself was a worldwide dangerous thing. I don't remember how many people died, but many millions of people died from the pandemic. And then we entered this period in history right now, coming out of a pandemic that you would think people would feel more sympathetic to each other or more kind to each other, because we all just got out of a very serious situation. We're the survivors, and you know, you would expect the survivors to have some feeling of gentle or kindness towards each other. But in fact, the opposite has happened. And I would say, you know, I grew up, when I was a kid, they used to tell us to hide under the desk. We used to have exercises or practice at our school when I was 9 years old, 8 years old. And they would teach us to hide under the desk in case of nuclear war. And I remember going home and looking out of my bedroom window at night and being afraid that I might see a nuclear bomb explode, you know. And that period passed. The great powers which had nuclear weapons kind of blackmailed each other to the point where we thought they would not be used. But there's a very high degree of danger in the world right now. It doesn't matter if your business runs with a better profit. It doesn't matter if your relationships go a little better. It doesn't matter if you feel happier or you feel more healthy if the world blows up. You see what I mean? That's a hard problem, and that's a big problem. And it's so big that we don't even like to think about it. Most of us, it's so big and unsolvable that we don't even want to think about it. But if you study the diamond world, if you learn to sit on the bus next to emptiness, even this kind of hard problem, you can affect it. As one person, as one individual, you can affect this hard problem of the tension, international distrust, a very real possibility of the destruction of this world. You can help. You can help fix it if you understand the diamond world. Okay. Second problem, I think, is what I use this photograph for. Is the internet. You know, I was reading on the internet. I was reading a number for the number of hours that people are on the internet. People, you know, a normal adult in my country is online 8 hours a day. So they spend equal time online and offline. They spend exactly half of their waking hours in an unreal world, okay? They spend exactly half of their life in a world which is not real. It's just the internet. It's just random facts, random pictures, random things. And on top of that, people spend average 3 hours in my country in the evening on movies. So you're talking 11 hours in a world which is not exactly real. You see, it's not our physical world. It's an electronic world. It's a poor image, a poor reflection of reality. And reality is so much more fun than the internet. The real world is so much more fun than the internet. Internet tends to make you isolated, and it makes people lonely, and it's dissatisfying, and people stay up late at night and have all kinds of fears or hopes, or they feel a little bit excited from something they see, and it's all unreal. You see, there's the opposite of that, okay? By the way, the opposite of danger in the world, well, we'll talk about it, but I think internet has made us all more isolated, and we feel alone. It's so typical to see this kind of picture of a person on the internet late at night by themselves, and they feel alone. And that it's a kind of very serious problem. It's a hard problem. And can we use the diamond world to fix it? My third hard problem I can think of. I was at the doctor 2 days ago, and I was getting just a standard blood test. I don't know, it's good to go once a year, have a doctor look at you, check you. And I was sitting to get a blood test, and this guy who walked in, he looked about 65 years old or something, and he just walked in, and he was smiling, he was saying hi to everybody, and he sat down, and he said, hey, there was about 6 or 7 of us waiting, and he said, hey, anybody here can guess my age, And we're like, oh, 60, 55, 62. And he said, I'm 97. I'm 97 years old. And actually, some people jumped up to shake his hand, and they said, God, you're walking around, running around like this. You look so happy. You look so bright. And God, you're 97 years old, And then we started to ask him, why do you think you're so healthy and you're 97? We all would like to live till 97 like you. How did you do that? And he said, my whole life, and especially the last 10 years or so many people ask me this question that I start to wonder, why am I different? And one lady said, oh, it's genetic. Your mom has strong genes, And he said, no. You know what I think it was? And we're like, what? And he says, I grew up and I spent most of my life in Montana, in the mountains, And I was far away from the city, and I was far away from city water. I was far away from pollution. I was just living in the mountains, pretty healthy life. I had a job, physical job. And I think it was that I grew up away from the cities and away from the automobiles. And I feel great, and I feel normal, I'm in 97, and I feel wonderful. And then I was thinking, wow, maybe all the people who die when they are 70 or 80, maybe they die because of the pollution. Maybe they really die because of what's going on in the world, Maybe people don't live to 95 usually because of they live in a world which is already made dirty by human beings. You know, we cut down trees, we killed the animals, polluted the ocean, the air is almost not breathable. And look, boy, Geshe-la, come on, that's a hard problem. You know, you expect me to take DCI level 7 and fix the global warming or something? And I say, yeah, I do. That's what level 7 can do, okay? Diamond World can do it, okay? I'd say one more big problem I would talk about is the aging of the world's population. I was reading the statistics. Russia has a major problem. China, Japan, America has a major problem. In Japan, where I visit pretty frequently, you know, I think it's 1/3 of the people are over 60 years old. It's a major problem. The birth rate in Russia, for example, is the lowest it has been. The birth rate is the lowest it's been in 300 or 400 years. Okay, like it's unbelievable. And what's happening to this world? You know, what's going to happen to this world if I don't know, 2/3 of the people are too old to take care of themselves? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And anyway, I got a hard question for you. You know, what happens after that? You know, after you die, what happens to you? Where do you go? And these are unsolved. That's a real hard problem. I'm not talking about you having some fights with your wife or something. I'm talking about it's a dangerous world right now, number one. Number two, the whole population is almost isolated, lonely, stuck in the internet somewhere. Three, the planet itself is being destroyed, the trees, the air, the water. Four, there's a direction of demographics of the population of the world that doesn't look good, okay? It's a disaster. A disaster is coming. It's already here, actually, but people don't really know, you know. And then on top of that, what happens to all of us? Where do we go after that, you know? Can we do anything about that? Okay, I'm going to give you another picture here. It's a pink. It's one of the new iPhones, okay? And I'm going to give you the opposite of those hard problems, okay? Now, what were the 4 hard problems I just talked about? Dangerous world right now, especially internationally. People are lonelier than ever. They are isolated on the internet. Thirdly, we have messed up this planet to the point where I'm saying your life is shorter if you just live here. Okay. And then number 4, there's a bad trend in the population. You know, there's not enough children, and there's more and more old people. And then what happens to those people anyway? Okay. Now, we talked about taking a problem and turning it into not an opportunity, but a great success. Okay. So, if you could dream, if you had the power to change those 4 hard problems into something beautiful, the opposite, 4 hard joys or something, what would it look like? What would you choose? And then number 1, I call it supply chain harmony. That's why I have an iPhone here. Okay, if the countries of this world are really cooperating, then I can see, you know, you dig the, what's it called? Nickel out of Indonesia, you know, and you pay the miners really well and make the work pleasant. And then it goes to, I don't know, Vietnam or China, and it's made into the parts of a cell phone. And those workers get paid super well, and they have good hours, and they can support their families and even be very comfortable. And then the phone, it goes to, I don't know, Europe or US, and they sell it, or in the local markets in Asia. And there's this huge harmony and cooperation between the countries, and everybody's proud of their stage in the role, their step in the process. and everyone's excited to help the next country. And that's, to me, would be the opposite of a dangerous nuclear world that we're in right now. Secondly, could we change the internet in such a way that people feel real personal warmth, personal touch, personal friendship, the joy of sitting next to a warm human being who likes you? Can we shift that loneliness of the internet to something really beautiful and warm? Can we take the pollution of this world and remove it and turn it into this really beautiful garden? I think Avatar movie with that big tree and everything is just clean, the air is clean, the water is super clean, you can drink the water any stream without thinking about it, and the world is just beautiful and clean. So, see what I mean? I'm not saying solve the pollution problem. I'm saying turn this planet into a garden, a true garden. And then finally, is it possible to change this confusion about what's going to happen in the later part of your life and even after you die? Is it possible to completely take that hard problem and turn it into a very relaxed knowledge of what's going to happen to me in the later part of my life and what's going to happen to me beyond that? Could you take that uncertainty, could you take that problem of the world aging right now, and could you turn it into some kind of extraordinary joy and happiness about the future, some great hope and certainty about where we are going? Okay, that's my proposal. So in the third video, we got to get down to the actual techniques for doing that, and it all has to do with the diamond world. Okay, see you in the next video.